Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome in. Okay, Jordan, we have Jordan Rodgers on the show today. Give me an
What's
idea of what
going
you're
on?
stepping into. Let's look
I
at the chat here. Nolan Warnock says, what's up, everyone? Is T-Bob blaming sensitive nips as the reason he's coming around on Beck? Find out at 1 p.m. Okay, so first off,
Please,
no,
I want the backstory on that.
I've been dealing with a massive case of shingles. It's fucking awful. Like, boys, like I'm pain tolerant.
But you're serious.
I'm dead serious. It is 24/7 awful pain for well over a week now. I'm finally on the come down. It's like basically adult chicken pox, right? But it all started because I was feeling off. I was feeling weird. And it was like, man, I got really sensitive nipples right now. I don't know what's going on. Come to find out, it gets worse and worse and worse. Saturday, wake up on the edge of a mental breakdown, anxiety attack. But we made it. We're good to go. And yes, I am kind of coming around on Carson Beck a bit, which we will discuss. This is Snaps. I'm T-Bob Hebert. He's Aaron Murray. He is Jordan Rodgers.
Hold up.
Jordan,
did you have to tape the nips? You have to cover them up? What'd you have to do here? Like, were you full marathon jogger style?
Fathom how badly it would hurt to apply tape to my nipples right now. Like, just the fabric of the shirt rubbing against my chest is awful right now. It's again, it's getting better today, but I do not wish shingles on my worst enemy. If you are above 60, you definitely need to get that shingles vaccine. Because like I'm wondering, like back in the day, what happens? Do I just die? Because it's barely getting better with medicine. So like if you didn't have medicine, does shingles just kill you? I don't know.
Slowly, yes, probably.
But anyway, he's Jordan Rodgers. This is Snaps. Real quick housekeeping. Thank you to everyone getting a 7K on YouTube. The road to 8K starts today. Please the algorithmic gods that rule our existence by hitting like and subscribe. Jordan, what's up, man? Thank you so much for joining us, man.
What's going on? Besides, now that we're done with the shingles, what else should we talk about that's borderline football?
Well, okay. So actually, I was going to start with UGA and Carson Beck. So Nolan was actually right on our rundown here because, look, this is a George team. Now winners of 25 in a row. I've been on the no UGA will not win a championship bandwagon the entire season. I'm slowly eroding. And so I'll ask you this. With what you've seen out of Carson Beck this year, has he proven to you that he is a national championship caliber quarterback?
Oh, not yet. And I'm of the camp. Hold up. I'm of the camp. I love Carson. And I've been on this train with him and Bobo when they were getting negative, on Twitter for no reason. I'm like, what are you watching? Because I think Bobo's actually done at times and maybe, this year, Bobo's done a better job of getting Brock Bowers the ball than I think Monken ever did. Now, Monken has more weapons, I think, at times in the backfield to work with, so the offense is different. But I think Carson's a heck of a player. I'm going to say no just yet because I think the last little piece that I need to see from Carson is some consistency in the deep ball. When you just pull the numbers, and he missed a couple, I think, last week. When you pull the numbers, he's second last in the SEC in balls over 25 yards. And I think that's one of those things that Stetson always got the knock for not being a deep ball guy, which I don't think was ever true. I think at times in his career, he threw the ball really shallow and tried to line drive it. And so the margin for error was lower, but he would make those big time throws in big time games. I think that's what I need to see from Carson. A few more of those. And I think this team is there and he's there.
Well, Stetson early in his career was like that. Like Stetson's biggest knock after his first season was like he was not accurate down the field. Then second, third season, he got better and better, but he had 2 years of experience. I mean, this is still Carson's first year. So I don't want to defend him here, but where would you rank him? Like I do a little bit. I think of Carson, and I know it's year one. I know it's hard to leave after one season and go to the NFL, but like I think he's a first-round talent. He's got the size, he's got the arm strength. He's showed enough to me. Where would you put him in this NFL draft class? Because we talk about how loaded it is at the quarterback spot. Would he still fall in the first round?
I don't think so. I don't think yet. I think he could. Are you putting him ahead? Of? I'm trying to think of the fringe guy.
I'm putting him
ahead of Bo Nix.
Yeah, I am putting him ahead of Bo Nix. I don't think Bo Nix is like NFL talent. I think he's a great college quarterback, and there's a reason why he's played 5 years in college football and has moved on.
Like I think if someone could fall in love with him in the right system, but I've always been there too.
I mean, Caleb Drake, 1, 2. I mean,
Beck's
who's 3?
He's a fucking giant, right? Like the
Penix
NFL loves giant white guys, and he's a giant, and he's got thick ass legs.
Still though, I mean, a lot of that. I think a lot of that is
I don't know.
changing a little bit. I think the ability to escape and have mobility, which is why I think from a pure passing standpoint, yes, Aaron. I think he's one of the I just in my notes, I was looking over my notes before this. I wrote down somewhere, like, I think he's one of the best pure progression intermediate passers in college football right now. Yep. I mean, his ability to like go 1-2 and then in rhythm hit that, whether it's a comeback backside or a deep cross or whatever that is, with accuracy on time. I think the mobility, and I think some of the haven't quite seen the deep ball consistency yet, would still put me at, I think he's a mid-round guy if you said he's going right now. And, well, no, okay, wait, sorry. I think he's a late second, third guy, not a mid-round guy. I think he's a late second now. But again, this is a deep, loaded class.
Would you play? Who's ahead of him though? So you'd put Bo ahead of him?
I would put Bo ahead of him. And that's saying a lot, because I don't love Bo. I haven't for a lot of his career. I think he's done a lot for himself this year.
Where does Penix fit in?
Penix is ahead of him for sure. I think Penix is an absolute.
You don't worry about Penix.
You're putting Penix in the big three then.
Yeah,
the Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix.
I'd put. Ooh, this is gonna be. You're not gonna like this one. I think I'd put Quinn ahead of Beck. I think you could.
I'm interested to see where a couple of these guys.
Reasons are very similar, but
I wonder if a couple of these guys end up staying too, Jordan. Like, talk about that of Drake is not playing as well as he did last year, and you can blame new OC, different receivers. Quinn is banged up right now. If both those guys don't finish the season off where they want to, it doesn't look like North Carolina will with their second loss. Texas still everything in front of them. But could you see both those guys coming back next year? And how does that change the whole situation?
I absolutely
would. You?
I would, because of I probably wouldn't if I was Drake, because I think he's a bona fide 1 or 2. So I think he's a bona fide top 5 draft pick. And I think maybe not being necessarily the number 1 doesn't always hurt you if you're the number 2, right? Because you go to a team that's maybe traded up to get in the top 5. That's a fringe kind of needing one more piece, and you could be in a much better situation. But I think in this day and age, like, taking money and either testing the transfer portal, like, who's going to be Bama's quarterback next year? Going to be somebody that's not on that roster right now, I think.
No, it's Tyler Buckner.
Drake May.
What are you talking about? Pull off season of Buckner. That's just what he needs.
Come on.
Okay. Look. Okay, let's bring it back to college football. Though, even though, look, I agree with. Okay, here's where I stand on Georgia. I've evolved my Georgia take, right? Okay. I've always said that I thought, no, they were not going to win the national championship just because replacing Monken and Stetson Bennett was going to be too much, and that was what would push them across the finish line. Slowly but surely, they get the win on Jordan Hare, a couple big home blowout wins. You see Carson Beck overcome Brock Bowers like it's nothing this last game. McCarthy, like, okay, I'm starting to come around. I think this is where I'm at today. I still think playing the math, the most likely scenario, it's never happens in 30s. All things we know. I don't think Georgia wins 3 in a row, but I do feel like for the first time this season, I've finally come around to that. I think they're good enough to potentially win 3 in a row. Like, I was pretty hard out on them.
Like these next 3.
No, sorry. I mean, this year, right now, this Georgia team right now, I've been out on hard since the beginning of the year, since preseason.
Oh, sorry.
And then winning 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Excuse me. No. So I finally come around to the idea that while I still don't think they will, just playing the odds, I feel like they're starting to appreciate in value. Like, they're getting better as the season goes on, which is what championships team do.
And who right now are you like, they're beating Georgia?
Yeah, and that's the other kind of fair point, right? No, but I mean, Michigan remains untested. That's what I would say. Ohio State's still very interesting because they've survived the 2 big tests that they've had, even though, I mean,
Ohio State.
Aaron, you can't you can't say that unequivocally.
Shit. No, I can. They won't score. You can't win championships if you don't have.
I think Carson Beck and the Georgia offense would struggle against that Ohio State defense. No, you think they would just roll?
Which defense are you more high on? Georgia's defense? Or I say, even if you want to give a flip of a coin, like they're both on the equal playing fields, Georgia's offense is significantly better than Ohio State's offense.
Right.
And Jordan, answer that question. Like, how do you? I asked Josh Pate the same question last week. How would you rank importance in today's game of offense to defense? Like, what would you prefer? And I know you're an offensive guy, but yeah.
Look at the Ohio State Georgia game last year.
Yes.
I mean, look at and as good as and this Georgia defense is very good. They're not as good as they've been in the past. Look at all those games that they had to score 40-something when it counted, whether it's an SEC championship or a playoff game where they needed that to win. And those are some of the best defenses we've ever seen. But playoff games are just different, man. Like, teams have extra time to prepare. You're gonna score points if you have dudes on offense. So I'll take that offense all day, which is why
you scored a bunch of points on Michigan's defense, for goodness sakes. And Michigan's defense was great.
Totally. Which is
the signals, but
like, yeah, as about to say, entered signals.
The weapons they have this year and how Bobo's using them is scary. And I just, back to the Carson Beck thing, when you watch him throw the ball to Ladd McConkey, it's different. Like, Aaron, from a quarterback perspective, like when you watch the velocity and the timing, like he does not blink. He doesn't hesitate. Like, Ladd is such a great route runner. That second, I think it was a second reception, the one he over route, great stair step route to create separation, flips it, goes up. I mean, just, like, he's ridiculous. And so when Ladd is healthy and then you add Brock back into that mix, I think they need to use Oscar a little bit more like they were using Brock. I think he can do that. I think they didn't really last week. Maybe they didn't really need to, the way the game that went so early in their favor. They didn't really have to. But that offense is, I think, better than last year in a lot of areas.
Ooh, okay. I feel like that's okay.
Again, I got so much shit last year. I got so much shit last year because I was like, I don't think the receivers are very good outside Ladd. And I stand by that. They weren't. Arian is just a dude that you can throw in every now and then and see if he can win on a post. AD was not really healthy and not a shadow of who he is now. Kyrus Jackson and Dominic Blaylock were just guys. Right now, they're guys. Their third and fourth guys are Dominic Lovett and Ra Thomas, who are dudes that can make plays. When it's not Brock or it's
but they haven't really made that many plays yet. Like, what did they call it? 1 touchdown apiece thus far? Yeah,
well, it's not all about the touchdowns. The yards have been great. The catches have been great, especially the past 3
weeks. The yards have been all right. I mean, I think they broke 80 yards.
Those aren't guys that have to win you the game.
Yeah, that's the right point.
You can't just go, okay, we don't really need to worry about this dude if he's one-on-one. Like,
so going back to T-Bob's question, though, Jordan, who concerns you with the dog? Like, who are legitimate teams as we get going towards the end of the season now? Like, who could beat them?
That they have on their schedule right now?
On their schedule or just in general?
I'm not really worried about, let's start with their schedule. I'm not worried about Tennessee as much as maybe I think they found the recipe last year against a much better Tennessee offense. You press and be physical with those dudes on the outside, they can't win. Disrupts the timing, and it's just that Tennessee offense gets swallowed up because Georgia's too physical. So I'm not worried about that because that Milton and this offense is not what it was last year. Ole Miss, I just watched them. They're good, but that pass game is struggling now. Like,
they're not good up front, Jordan. I don't think they're good up front, man, on either side of the ball.
Right? Really. I mean, Vandy was hitting home with blitzes left and right. I mean, that game got kind of ugly at 26-0 for like 2.5 quarters. You're like, it feels a lot closer than it looks on the scoreboard. Missouri, I think, is an interesting one, only because actually two-faceted. Because of how the game went last year, Missouri's going to walk in there with a ton of confidence and with how they're playing this year. So I don't think they're going to walk in going, man, we're the little brother. We got to, hopefully we got to put it together and see if we can keep up with these guys. And I think Kirby Moore doing such a good job with how he moves Luther Burden around. They're night and day who they were last year. Brady Cook is night and day the quarterback, just from a health standpoint. No one knew he had his shoulder torn last year and was playing with that. He's night and day different. And up front, they pressure a quarterback. They're like 5th, I think, in the country in getting either under duress, hits, sacks on a quarterback. So if you can disrupt them a little bit, that one to me is a little scary. And then you get into, I think, Michigan, just because they can play physical. And the way that game goes early dictates a lot of what happens in a game like that. Ohio State, just because I do think their offense will come around. I think the defense is extremely talented. So those are a couple.
All right. So look, it is that time of year. If you live in the South, chances are it's like finally just starting to get cold for you right now.
Yeah, I hate it.
Gumbo weather's coming in, dude. We flipped the calendar to November here in a couple of days, and with turkey season comes championship season. And you look at the SEC this week, I mean, let's go, boys. 1v2 in the West, 1v2 in the East. Since we already, and really it feels like so much of what's been done up to this point has all been table setting, right? Like getting the meal ready. And now it's ready to see who's going to follow through and cook this turkey the correct way. Let's stick on Mizzou, Georgia for a bit here. What's the spread on this, Aaron? Do you know off the top of your head?
Georgia's like 15. They're double digits.
15, right? Okay, so is it? So is it how interesting is this really then? Right? I love how it sounds. I love this Mizzou team this year. Everything you just talked about, Jordan. But like, are we actually going to be here on the other side next Monday and be talking about a Mizzou team that put up a fight or made it close, or is Georgia just going to steamroll to their 26th win in a row?
I mean, Missouri is a much better team than Auburn, than Vandy, and those two teams kind of stuck around, right? I don't think you were ever like, I mean, Auburn especially stuck around, but even Vandy, like
both on the road though. Both on the road though.
Totally, 100%. Vandy's a tough place to play on the road. I know that well. Especially with the stadium, it's just that the wind it's a wind tunnel now.
No, Jordan, you gotta understand.
It is a road game for you. So technically, you know how hard it is as a road place for you.
That's true. I do. I did have to go silent cadence a few times at home. How sad is that?
Jordan, Georgia fans this year don't understand conceptually that some teams actually not only play games against teams that may beat them, but sometimes they even have to go to that team's stadium. They're not used to it, right? They pretty much get everybody in Athens this year that has a pulse, and that's barely even anybody with a pulse. So Aaron may not be fully familiar with what you're talking about when you say road game.
I'll say, I said a few things about Missouri. I think one of the best things that I saw, and I had the Kentucky game, is, and I know it's Kentucky. I'm not trying to pump up Kentucky here at all. But
don't do that to T-Bob.
Yeah, they were on the road down 14 early in that game, and it looked like Kentucky was just going to steamroll, right? And so to fight back on the road down that much early to win it by more than 2 scores, like that just tells you a lot about, I think, the maturity and what happens in adversity. And that's what I worry about in a game like this, right? If Georgia starts fast or Missouri starts slow, then traditionally you're like, okay, that's over, right? So I think this is a different Missouri team just from that standpoint.
Well, and that was one of those weird ass box scores game, Jordan, where like you look up and the math doesn't add up. You're like, how'd they win so big? It's like Luther Burden didn't do shit, and like Brady Cook's stats were like all right, and it's like, hold up now. So yeah, I agree with you. Like that made me feel better about Mizzou than anything. I still think Georgia probably rolls this weekend, and Aaron's going to demand that we all crown them. I mean, I hope they do not. I hope they do not roll. But if it's 15 for a reason, like that, that's kind of where I land, unfortunately. If it was in Mizzou, I wouldn't say that, right?
So you more worried about Ole Miss or Tennessee than you are Mizzou for Georgia?
No, sorry. I want to be clear because I've been hardcore. Georgia's going to win the SEC and will lose in the playoff. Okay. That's been my take since the preseason. Nothing's changed. If anything, I'm actually coming around as much as I hate it. I feel like I'm getting Stockholm syndrome by all these Bulldog fans that we deal with constantly on this show because I'm finally starting to come around a little bit to the idea that maybe Georgia is going to win the Natty.
Listen, I'm more concerned about Georgia Tech. They're just the killers in the ACC. Miami, they took down UNC. Like, you better watch out. Georgia Tech. Haynes King is he's playing right now.
Dude, there's nothing I hate more.
Forgotten SEC. They got like 4 or 5 dudes on that team that were kind of like
4 tough games, T-Bob. All those bitching about Georgia's schedule. Missouri, Ole Miss, in Knoxville, and then Georgia Tech, a bowl team, Georgia Tech right now, taking out people left and right. It is a hard schedule.
I just want to clip that and just clip that sentence and put it up there and listen back to it. So Aaron has to hear the absurdity of what he just tried to utter into our headphones.
And they just had to beat a 5-2 Florida team too. So I mean, the
stop it. Yeah, exactly. 5-2 Florida team. That is a team that's going to finish 6-6, and you know it. Florida is about to lose nearly every game from here on out. 5-2.
Right,
get the hell out of here.
Let's flip it over to the other team, Jordan.
That's what it's
a more competitive game.
Yes. Yeah.
Alabama, LSU. I've been on LSU since this offseason. Maybe because I had their spring game, got to really see what they're cooking over there. Defensively has been crap. Looks like it's getting a little bit better. What's your pulse on this one?
I think this one's interesting because this is a game that if Alabama starts the way they did against Tennessee, it's over. Like I don't think you're coming back against an LSU team with the firepower that they have. My biggest concern for how Alabama's built, they're built to like push the ball downfield, right? Protection's been an issue. When you just start to get in the weeds of this matchup, where they moved Harold Perkins, I don't love on one end. I don't think they're not improved in coverage because he's there. But now in protection, you always have to account for the fact that because he's over that slot corner, he's that nickel, he can come almost every time. And they'll fluff it. They'll bring him. They won't bring him. And if Alabama's on the right hash and you got Caden Proctor at left tackle over there, and when you go back and watch the Tennessee game, 8 out of 15 dropbacks, just straight called dropbacks, they chipped with the tight end for Caden. And that is great on one hand. On the other hand, that handicaps you. And that shows a lot. And so what do you do now if you got your strength or your tight end strength, your formation strength of the field, and Harold Perkins out there? You got a tight end on them? Do you full slide out there? They've been terrible in slide protection all year. So I think protection is going to be a big issue for this team. And if you are an offense that needs to push the ball downfield to make those big plays, which they've done well this year, like you better hold up.
Well, but Jordan, that's where I get a bit. This is where this game almost feels unlike any football game you break down to where Alabama is awful at protecting Jalen Milroe, but it kind of hasn't mattered, right? Like he gets sacked a million times.
He gets drilled, and
but that's what I'm saying. But the explosivity makes up for it. And I want to say he's completing he has a 120 NFL passer rating under pressure this year. It's going to be like 70%. So it's a weird thing where it's like, I don't think the LSU passer, maybe they get after Milroe, but I don't know how much it matters because you're going to have 3 freshman corners trying to contend with Jermaine Burton out there. And it feels like if Jermaine Burton gets going, then the Alabama offense could potentially be okay.
If the game starts the way they need it to start, if they can dictate, I think, the pace of play, which I think is most important, right? And that's kind of why I said if LSU jumps out with 2 touchdowns early or something like that, that changes the complexion of what Alabama feels like they have to do on offense. So I watch Mike Denbrock and how he's moving Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas is a freaking robot out there. Kyron Lacey as well. Chris Hilton finally healthy as well. He's a dude that can be on the jet sweeps, can mix it up, get the ball in his hands. Alabama's defense has been playing good, but those dudes got weapons. And I think the X factor is Jayden Daniels, probably the fastest dude on the field when he turns.
So crazy, bro.
And then you have Diggs at running back too. I think that to me is more than anything.
Boys, what about the O-line? The O-line's the great hidden hero of this LSU team. 100%. I think they're the best line.
It'll probably be healthy, right?
Yeah, I think Emory Jones is going to be back. Yeah.
If LSU can score in the mid-30s, can Alabama, even with how bad LSU's defense, can they keep up with that?
Yes, I think
it's 30. Is 30 enough for LSU?
No, I think LSU's got to be 40.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the secondary, the LSU secondary is bad, right? And as much as I just talked about the protection, there will be times that LSU wins that. There'll be times that LSU will make Milroe scramble, they'll hit him, whatever. There's going to be a lot of times that there's going to be a big catch and run because you're out of place. The structure has improved since they've gone to more of this 4 down. There's less holes in the field, but the tackling's been bad. The coverage has been bad. Alabama's going to get some points, but can they keep pace? I think LSU's got to get 40.
It's kind of a fascinating thing where LSU clearly has the more giant glaring weakness, but they also have more giant glaring strength. And it's going to be who's going to win in that tug of war push-pull.
Well, this is also, think about the pressure. This is Jayden's Heisman moment. This is make or break Heisman. So there's a lot of that. And I talked to him last week, I think, or the week before we had the Army LSU game. And I asked him that. I know the right answer is you don't think about it, you don't talk about it, but this day and age, it's all you see when you flip on your phone. It's all your buddies are texting you. So maybe that unseen pressure, does he rise to the occasion? Does he start fast? Does he start slow? Is it a little too much early? I don't think it will be, but that's just a fascinating piece of this that isn't on paper, right?
Has he improved enough in your mind? And you saw him in person. I had a chance to see him in person. Has he improved enough in your mind to be a mid-round NFL guy?
I think
with the way he plays the game, he is elusive as hell now.
Yes, I think a mid-round guy for sure. Just because last year in talking to Denbrock too, it was all split field read stuff. It was all quick game horizontal stretch. We got to control Jayden's eyes because he's not a work through the progression, get from one side to the other. Never had to do it at Arizona State. So now they are much more a full field progression team. So now you actually are seeing these complete concepts. He's putting them on tape. He's excelling at them. So I think that was a difference maker from hey, let's take a flyer on a guy that is a crazy athlete, crazy talented. He's going to need a lot of work to. This guy's a little closer than maybe we thought to be able to step on an NFL field and play and compete. I mean, shoot. I mean, did you see Will Levis?
Yeah.
I don't know if I saw that coming. Right? I mean, if you watched on Kentucky, I don't know if I see him going out there in his first big time play or not start.
4 tutties.
Yeah, 4 tutties.
Giant white guy.
4 tutties.
What?
White guy.
Giant white guy. Dude. I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, I mean, just a
big ass arm.
Doesn't always work out. When it does, look out.
I will. Yeah. What a nice moment for Levis too. Cause it's been kind of a shitty couple of years, right? Kentucky didn't go like he wanted to at the end, dropping in the draft out of nowhere. And now look at him. That's a
first off, he didn't drop out of the draft out of nowhere. It was idiots projecting him as a top 5
Very
pick
true.
to start
with.
Okay.
Okay. Well, all I mean is
picked.
The public conception and the NFL view of him were clearly at odds with one another.
100%.
Everybody thought everybody in the public thought he was going to go way higher.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on then. We kind of touched on Heisman, and it is
who
Heisman
wins the game, by the way. We didn't answer. Who wins the game? Early in the week prediction. What we got?
I'm gonna ride with LSU.
Oh, okay.
I am just, I think they're going to be able to score points. Do I think they're going to run up and down the field in Alabama? I said that like last week, and someone's like, "Oh, you think they're just going to go all over the field?" No, but they're going to score points. They're going to make some big plays. So, can they get to 40? That'll be the question, but I think they win.
Man, this is one of those games where like already now I can already feel it in my gut a little bit, dude. Everybody around these parts is getting fucking fired up. If this place wins on Saturday, like Brian Kelly, you wanted to get out of jail free card. You want everybody, nobody's going to give a fuck about the secondary losing to Florida State. None of that shit. You go win this Saturday, you're God mode. You're a made man, which is crazy because now you look up and somebody like Brent Venables was a made man a month ago. And now you have like a couple of horrible breakdowns defensively back-to-back weeks. You lose to Kansas first time in a couple decades, and you got Bedlam and Stillwater coming up. Like, it's so shocking, y'all, how fast your fortune can shift in college football.
Crazy.
First playoff ranking comes out tomorrow. Who's your 4? Who's your 4?
I think I'm going to go. Okay, this is interesting. So I'm a big fan of letting strength of schedule dictate a lot early. Now, my first selection is going to be Georgia, so that necessarily doesn't play to that. But you're the 2-time defending.
And your second one's going to be Michigan, right? So that doesn't play to it.
My second one's going to be Ohio State because they got the much better. They got two better wins. Michigan hasn't played anybody. The reason I say that is because I would much rather have the eye test come into play at the end, right? I don't want to put somebody with the eye test before a team that's proven it on the field until you go, okay, hands down, it doesn't matter. Everyone's played all their games. This team is better. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's why we have college football playoff. But I think doing it too early gets you in trouble. So I'd go Georgia, Ohio State, and then Washington because I think they got probably the best win against Oregon. And then probably Florida State. And I'd have Michigan at probably 5.
Oh, wow. What, you just hate sign stealing? Think Harbaugh should get in trouble?
For one, I think that, I don't know. We don't have to go down a complete tangent. For one, I think that's bullshit. I think so many teams do it. For two,
you think teams are flying people out with cameras?
Maybe not as egregiously, but there's 100,000 people sitting in the stands. You think there's not someone that's doing this the whole game that's sending?
Kirby would never, Jordan Rodgers. You take that back, you motherfucker.
Brian Kelly.
Kirby would never.
Of course.
Okay. The other part of that I'm just like, everybody's like, oh, it's easy to fix. Like you just put a speaker in the helmet. That fixes nothing. That works in NFL because you huddle. Yes. No one huddles in college. Yeah. So as soon as the quarterback gets it, he's still got a signal to everybody else.
No, you can speak in everyone's helmet.
Oh, yeah, you can do that.
You have to put in all the receivers' helmet. You have to put in receivers' helmet too.
I like people picking it because you know what? There's a lot of times that we knew teams had our signs and we'd flip to the other sign and then we had the advantage. Like why would we create a rule that is so easily fixed by either changing your signs, having multiple signs, and also can easily be fixed by
Jordan, you went to Vanderbilt. You had smart kids that could handle changing signs. That's the difference.
Whose problem is
these
that?
Idiots at other schools. It's not our fault. We didn't go to Vanderbilt.
We need it.
We did. Yeah, you can handle that. Most of these schools,
no, but here's the thing:
if you change signs, guys will be running into each other.
If you only put the speaker in the quarterback's helmet, he's now got a single signal to everybody else, and now every signal will absolutely be on the all 22 tape. Whereas now, maybe one sideline is, but not all of it is. Like now, you're putting every sign on tape.
In everyone's helmet. I think the XFL or maybe the AAF, one of those leagues I was in, everyone had it in their helmet.
There's also a school.
One of those leagues I was.
There's a school that's an all deaf school that is putting like almost like a heads up display in visors with like a number. Cool. And so like it's all. I don't think we should get there. Like, let's not go that far. Like, let's fix the chains before we get that crazy. Like, or chip the ball. Like, before we start putting like Tony Stark screens on visors. But anyways.
Oh no! See, I hate chip the ball. I'm all about human error. I hate robot umps. I hate all that shit. Human error is a class. I mean, nobody wants exact.
Then we should keep signs, right?
Yeah. I would keep signs over anything, or like even give them pitch count, like pitch selection things. So if you just want them to, I don't give a fuck really. It doesn't matter. Like here's a golden rule of humanity. Somebody's gonna figure out a way to cheat, and somebody's gonna figure out a way to cheat best. And we just have to decide how we adjudicate how much trouble we want to get.
So to wrap that up, I have Michigan at 5. They're going to play Penn State and Ohio State, and they'll freaking figure it out. And they'll probably end up back in my rankings again very shortly.
Finally, and then we'll let you go. Heisman favorites. JJ McCarthy now the odds-on betting favorite. We mentioned Jayden have his moment this weekend. Dylan Gabriel's flagging a bit. Michael Penix Jr. still on that list. Somewhere out there, Aaron Murray's going to try to convince you that Carson Beck should be, and it's not just because he has a large Carson Beck bet floating out there. What do we think for your Heisman favorites there, Jordan?
Aaron's going to hold like one of these. You guys are going to do this. He's going to invite every Heisman voter that he knows just to give like an hour-long speech, and it's just highlights of Carson Beck.
Hey, once
Penix
loses, he's out. If Jayden loses this weekend, he's out.
I don't have JJ in my top 4.
Really?
I know it's crazy to me that he's. I mean, I get. No, it's not crazy. Again, I get why. I get
the
why.
Same thing though. He's going to have every opportunity, but I think it's got to be twofold. I think you got to be leading your team to be one of the best in the country. He's got that check, right? Stats wise, he's got it to be in the conversation. It's not crazy. And Heisman moment, I think, is big. So playing the biggest in the biggest game. So he'll have that moment for me to jump back in. I'd go Penix at 1 for that reason. He's got the stats. He's got the Heisman moment so far. I'd go Jayden probably 2nd. He's going to have his Heisman moment next, but I think he's by far the best player, well-rounded in the country with what he does with his legs as well. I think an non-quarterback, I think like Marvin Harrison's going to have a chance to get in that conversation better than him. Like, you could say Malik Neighbors, but Malik would never win it because Jayden's his quarterback. But with McCord playing the way he is, you're like, man, he's not in the conversation. So if Marvin goes off against Penn State, goes off against or not Penn State, goes off against Michigan late, he's going to have an opportunity to like rocket up some of those rankings, depending on if Penix loses or if Jayden goes out and lays an egg this week.
Bo can still win it too. If Oregon wins the
I'd have Bo right ahead.
Bo is right in it.
AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point. Bo should be rocking up as well. Jordan, we've already held you so
that Bo's like we had this conversation earlier about like NFL, and again, I'm not like I think it's gonna be a high draft pick or not, but like the fact that Bo Nix was the same Bo Nix at Auburn, like doesn't that tell you a lot about coaching and systems?
Yeah, but I don't think Bo, like to me, I watched Bo his last season. Bo actually played pretty well at Auburn his last year. I felt like he had no support.
Yeah, true.
He had no receivers. No receivers.
That's
correct. I mean, he was running around for his life at the time, making crazy plays.
Jordan's point, it's not just coaching; it's situation. It's all this stuff. Like
I don't think Bo was a bad quarterback 2 years ago at Auburn. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, he didn't have the support. He was not a bad quarterback.
Right.
Image a day in the chat says Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis is kind of sneakily hanging around on the outside. Like it would take some big statistical finishes to probably push him through. But I guess he's not.
This year it's going to be who's got the biggest moment. Like someone's going to steal it here just because of one game. Like that's just wild.
I still think if everyone wins out, but Jayden wins in Tuscaloosa and beats Georgia. Yeah. I think Jayden gets it, even if they're not.
I don't even think he has to beat Georgia. I don't think he has to be. I think if he wins because he's becoming enough of a statistical outlier potentially where if he wins in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, but if Penix goes undefeated though with his stats.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. No, you're right. All right, Jordan, we've already kept you so long, man. Where are you calling this weekend?
I'm at Ole Miss A&M. So we got Nation at A&M, and then actually that's the noon kick. So I'll just head straight up to the booth. So I actually
get the game in Oxford.
Yeah, in Oxford. I get to watch football on a Saturday night. Let's go, boys.
Hell yeah. Gotta be a good feeling, dude. Well, enjoy that. Enjoy watching the football purgatory that is Texas A&M. So you watch a fan base just vacillate between heaven and hell, never improving, but never getting worse. It's a fascinating thing to witness firsthand. Jordan Rodgers
right now. Let's be honest.
Wait, what?
Regressing. They're regressing.
It's not. Even the 30-17 win over South Carolina wasn't good. But hey, at least the Yell leaders got to go swimming after the cadets.
Hey, you know what? I'll be praying for your nipples too. I'll keep
Thank you. I mean, we're feeling like honestly, they feel on top of the world compared to last week. Nips are improving mightily.
What helps? Like some
no, like nothing. Because this is what I was telling people. It's not
like an itchy shirt off, kind of fanning them.
Maybe a little bit, but it's like it's just an internal.
It's like the guy from the Water Boy, just
like literal
in the sun, rubbing them.
But the problem is, it's not just the nipples; it's your spine, it's your chest. Like it feels like somebody's sitting on my chest right now. It's just that the nipples combined with their regular, normal erotic nerve endings. I think everything is just more so. So like everything hurts, but the nipples hurt more so because of kind of the natural biology of the whole equation to begin with.
So I'll be praying for you, man.
Thank you. And next time we'll ask you whether or not you like your nipples tweaked, but we'll leave that alone for today. Jordan, you have a great day, my friend.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Thanks, all right, take it easy, man. Jordan Rodgers, legend again. Catch him this Saturday, A&M, Ole Miss. That's going to be fantastic. Aaron, I don't even need to ask you if you like your nipples tweaked because I know the answer is probably yes.
You do know the answer to that.
You're one of the dirtiest sons of bitches I've ever met in my entire life. And I mean that so lovingly.
I know you do. That's a problem.
Possible way.
Yes.
Well, I forgot to do our game time read. So just remember, guys, this holiday season, if you want to get involved with the fastest growing ticketing app in the U.S., of course, I'm talking about Game Time. You want to go to any of the big games? Aaron, what are all the big games? You were going through them earlier in our pre-show. Like, what are all the big games?
I mean, there is so many good games this weekend. Hell, I was going to go to the Georgia-Missouri game all set, got my tickets ready to go, and then I just got called. I have to go to the Auburn-Vandy game. I'll be on the call for that right after Jordan's game. So double dipping again this week, going from MAC to the SEC. But you got Georgia-Missouri. You got Kansas State at Texas. Hell, if you want to go watch Notre Dame Clemson, just keep beating Clemson. Clemson could be 4-5 for goodness sakes. You want to watch that Oklahoma State. You got Bedlam, Washington, USC, and then obviously the big boy LSU, Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So use the Game Time app. You got plenty of tickets and plenty of games to go to this weekend.
And remember, it's not just football, baseball, basketball, hockey are upon us. Pelicans rolling. Let's freaking go. If you want to go to a concert, Game Time is obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. Exclusive flash deals, sponsored deals on games and concerts daily within the app with zone deals. I love this. With zone deals, you pick the section and Game Time picks the seats, right? It's to maximize your savings. Also, with the Game Time guarantee, you always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, they will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code SNAPS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and enter code SNAPS, SNAPS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Let's see what we got here.
Snaps up 10.
Nolan Warnock, T-Bob's heart rate's going to be 216 for the LSU kick, bro. You don't even my heart may explode. You don't even know. Last year, if only you could have been at the bar that I do my post-game show from, you would have witnessed a bunch of people who felt as if their souls had left their body after that 2-point conversion. I can only imagine what it'd be like if they could somehow do it again. Before we get in our Snaps Top 10, Charlie Shepard asks, Aaron, how do you feel about Kirby Smart's shot at Mullen? For those who missed it in the post-game, Kirby was talking about how, I don't listen to any of this stuff, but people sending me clips of people saying we're going to lose. And I thought it was a friend of mine. And then he gets in a little, but he didn't like to recruit though. We know your boys with Kirby. We know your boys with Dan up there at Lake Oconee. How are you scoring this one, Aaron?
Of course, Kirby. I mean, Dan, who even Tebow, the Holy One Tebow, like he picked Georgia to win the football game. Like, come on, Dan. Like you knew Florida had no shot. Silly. So yeah, big score once again for Kirby Smart, who somewhat owns this I don't want to say rivalry, but competition between him and Dan Mullen.
All right, time for our Snaps Top 10. Thank you, Goat Dog, very much. The show's great. Remember, please like and subscribe. Y'all 7K. We love to freaking see it, boys. The road to 8K goes now. If we get to 10 by the national championship, that is our goal. So
you get to see T-Bob's nipples. If we get to 10,
get it up. I mean, I don't mind showing my nips at all. Not right now, though. Way too insecure. Somebody told me today that they had shingles on their face, and I can't imagine. Like, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably wear like a Phantom of the Opera.
I think that's called something else, but whatever.
Yeah, well, it is all herpes, to be fair.
Yeah,
I really just have herpes all across my back. Nolan Warnock, I'd personally get us 10K for that. Well, okay. Get to creating them alt accounts, Nolan. Let's go. There
Box are in the shop. Any ideas for future guests? Any requests? We try to sprinkle them in, especially on Mondays.
So Aaron's pretty famous, and he is able to get a lot of these connections. So yes, give us good ideas, and Aaron can probably pull it off. Greg says, T-Bob, you look so refreshed yesterday with that whiskey and wine the night before. Well, okay, to be clear, we actually filmed that Saturday night. So that is why. No whiskey and wine. I had 5 hours without any kids, finally some rest right before that show. And today, even though I feel about 80%, that feels more like 100% because of how awful. But look how pale I look. Very dead looking. Anyway, Snaps top 10. We do it every single Monday. And we should get Dan back on, actually, Mullen.
We should get Dan on. We just need better. I want to bring Dan on, but his internet is just so shit.
I know.
That it kind of deters me at times.
Lake life, dude.
Yeah.
Lake life, dude. All right, let's get into it. Snaps up, Tim. Aaron, let me guess. You want to put Georgia number 1?
I would still keep Michigan at 1, but if you want to put Georgia at 1, I wouldn't say no to it.
I'll offer a deal for Georgia fans. We'll keep Michigan at 1 for this week because, I mean, I'm kind of tempted, even though I think Florida's awful. I don't think it's that big of a win. It's still, I guess, as impressive as anything Michigan has done this year. But for consistency's sake, we will keep Michigan at 1 for now. But should Georgia win this weekend, Michigan doesn't have a big one, right? And it's still not yet this weekend. No, they're Purdue. Should Georgia win this week, and they will guarantee be number 1 in next week's top 10 because Mizzou will be a very good win for them. So we'll go Michigan, UGA, and then here's where Aaron, just say it. I mean, we're not going to do it, but you can just say what you want.
I know. I think Oregon's the 3rd best team in America.
Did Paul Feinbaum really say we have potty mouths? Go Dog says. Is that true? Shout out. Can we get a clip of that? Can some of the Snaps boys get a clip of that? That'd be great.
Did he really say that?
Screenshot from, I think we ended up in a Michigan opening season hype video, but I never saw the video. I hope he said that. Anyway, sorry. Okay, so you want Oregon to be 3rd?
I love Oregon. I'm feeling Oregon right now. I think they're the best team in America.
I don't hate your logic. But like the game's got to matter, right?
I know.
We'll have a chance to beat Washington again.
I agree.
Okay. Oregon will have a chance to beat Washington. So you will have a chance to be right on Oregon. But Washington, as it stands now, has won in Eugene and won in Washington. And so I just can't do it, Aaron. Like there's just no way I can do it. It just cannot be allowed. I'm sorry.
Right, can we do this then? Can we do
this life?
Washington, Oregon, FSU to round up the top 5. Do you have a problem with that? Ohio State's offense, I can't feel it right now. We just continue to see just average play on that side of the football. It's a one-man band, and he's may win the Heisman for goodness sakes, but
but again, I mean, Ohio State does have 2 really good wins. Notre Dame's good. Notre Dame looked really good. That's a win that's appreciating in value, even with the Louisville loss. And I mean, I don't think the Penn State win's actually as good as probably the Notre Dame one, but FSU has won.
You won 2 games against. Yeah, you won 2 games and I like Ohio State. I love their defense, but you won 2 games against offenses that can't move the football.
What if we moved? And I hate to do this to FSU because they're actually gaining in steam, and I feel like looking stronger and stronger.
Yep.
But if you wanted to do the Oregon thing, we could go Michigan, UGA, Washington, Oregon, Ohio State, FSU, because unfortunately FSU's win in Clemson it's losing value. I mean, Clemson's 4-4 at this point.
They'll be 4-5 this weekend. Okay.
Ooh.
And I guess and let's think about who that loss is going to be too. It's going to be to Notre Dame, who Penn State beat. So it's a better look for Ohio State, worse look for Florida State.
Yeah, true. Okay, that Oregon one's going to get people fired up. But I don't hate it. As long as Washington's ahead of them, because they beat them head to head, I don't hate it. Now, to be clear, I would have to think. I would actually no, that's not true. I was going to say I'd think long and been hard about who I'd pick if they matched up on neutral field right now. No, I mean, I think the mind pick would probably be Oregon. My heart would still be going Washington. But again, we have to be careful with that because that's pride. That's hubris. That's what we all said going into the first matchup, and then Washington won. That's what everybody said going into last year, and Washington won. So, like, eventually Oregon's got to fucking follow through. Okay? Like we keep crowning you. Go and do it. But I agree that Utah win was as impressive as anything we've seen on the year thus far. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 is Alabama or Texas? Texas 7?
I'd go Texas, Alabama, 7-8.
Yeah, for sure. Game's got to matter, like we said. They won that head-to-head. So 7-8. I mean, I'm kind of done with Oklahoma.
I'm done with Penn
And
State.
Penn State.
I'm done with both of them. I think LSU is a top 10 team.
But I'm not into Ole Miss really as a top 10 team. I don't believe. I know you want them to be because you're trying to
do Ole Miss or LSU. No, I'm not sold on. I'm not sold on Ole Miss. I'm not sold on Ole Miss at all. You know how I feel about LSU. I think LSU is one of the top teams in America. I would put LSU in the top 10. I've been trying to get them in the top 10, back in the top 10 for a while, and you keep rejecting me on that one.
I could sneak LSU at 10 here. People are going to accuse me of being a homer, though.
I'll take the blame for you on that one.
You
want to put Missouri in the top 10? I think Missouri's a damn good team. If you want to keep LSU 9,
so I would
10,
love to. Okay, I don't know. Let's see. Do we think Missouri would beat Penn State?
Yes.
I kind of think so as well, but I think that maybe being.
I think Penn State is so overrated. Their offense sucks.
I mean, they look shitty against Indiana.
So bad.
Like they look shitty against Indiana. To be clear. And then. No, Oklahoma. Am I being too harsh on Oklahoma? I mean, Kansas is good. It's a good Kansas team they lost to. I get they're looking shaky right now.
Oklahoma 9, LSU 10.
We hype up a. Yeah, I mean, look, LSU's one loss is to FSU, but then I run into the classic. I'm being a bit hypocritical because I'm jumping LSU over Ole Miss, despite the fact that Ole Miss won the head-to-head. And that kind of goes at complete odds with the rest of this list.
It's unfortunate, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. LSU number 10. That way we get a top 10 matchup.
10? Okay, you're right. Yeah, let's juice up a top 10 matchup. Yes, this Saturday, officially, LSU, Alabama, top 10 matchup, number 8 versus number 10. JD the Guitar says FSU deserves a spot in the CFP. Georgia loves their cupcakes. For what it's worth, the snap to top 10 is different than how I would score the college football playoff. I would have Georgia, Michigan,
Oregon.
No. I'm talking about resume. Like to this point, who should be in your top 4 rankings? Actually, I don't know, man. Do I agree with Jordan Rodgers? Like, I kind of feel like FSU and Ohio State and Washington all have wins that should give them the nod over UGA, Michigan.
His reasoning was solid. Of like, if the eye test prevails, they'll get the wins to get in. But you don't want to set yourself up just in case they don't. But I don't know. It's just hard for me not to watch Georgia and Michigan right now and Oregon and say those are the best 3 teams in America.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Well, that's why playoff rankings are fun, right? This time of year, because that's what we're going to be discussing constantly from here on out. All right, here it is. Your October 30th Halloween spooky snaps top 10. At number 10, LSU. Number 9, Oklahoma. Number 8, Alabama. 7, Texas. 6, FSU. 5, Ohio State. 4, Oregon. 3, Washington. 2, UGA. 1, Michigan. Let's get to your comments here in a minute, but first, a message from DraftKings. NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is celebrating with an unbeatable offer. Right now, new customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for throwing down $5 on the NBA. Win or lose, like it doesn't matter. You start the season with an instant dub. And always remember, the DraftKings parlays, everyone's got a shot at even bigger basketball wins. So string together multiple bets in the same game or build a parlay across multiple games for a shot at making your payday even sweeter. Bottom line is basketball is more fun when you're in on the action. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code T-Bob, T-B-O-B. New customers get $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code T-Bob, T-B-O-B. The crown is yours. BA's Ty Stone Cold Style says, I can't fast forward when we're live. Hell yeah, dude. Listen to the ads. Support the Snaps boys. And really, again, just hit the like and subscribe. MOJ Day says, you have to judge how conferences do with outside opponents. The ACC did well with non-con. SEC's not done well. That's true.
Yeah, true.
SEC fans may not like
the ACC. The ACC is dying a little bit right now, though.
No, they are, but
dying a little bit.
But it's still an interesting point. in that the ACC did win those non-conference battles
early,
Yeah.
but they are. It's been a conference that came out guns blazing and has significantly gone down. And North Carolina losing this weekend is. Louisville looked really good though. Like Louisville was dominant first, dude.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Louisville as much as we probably should have. I mean, Riley Leonard and Duke could not get shit going.
No.
Also, does Louisville feel like they just like every now and then you see people in life back their way into success, right? And for Louisville to somehow go from Satterfield to Braum in the manner that they did, like how lucky are they? Because I don't think Satterfield's that good. And I think it's still pretty shocking
that Cincinnati.
I think it's shocking that Cincinnati jumped on Satterfield to begin with. And then all of a sudden, Braum's like, okay, wait, what the fuck? I can go back home, get out of West Lafayette where I was doing good, but like I'm kind of buried. Like that's much more. It was just like, if you're a Cardinal fan, man, you know who probably did it? The Papa. He's been behind the scenes, still eating pizzas. And he ate
Papa
so
John.
many pizzas that he somehow infected Scott Satterfield's brain and got him the fuck out of town. I got Braum back in there. So shout out Louisville. If they hadn't blown, I mean, how crazy it'd be if they hadn't blown, who'd they lose to?
They lost again the Pitt, who sucks.
Oh,
what an awful loss.
We got to get to Narduzzi a bit maybe later in the week, as I've never seen a coach piss his own players off more as Pat Narduzzi did.
I mean, how is Louisville feeling right now? Like Louisville may be like easily a top 10 team.
They'd be undefeated.
Easy top 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he lost
with a pretty good resume. I know. Let's see here. What are we talking about? My CFB prediction, says JD the guitarist. Georgia, Ohio State, FSU, Oregon.
Ohio State's going to be up there. Their resumes. Ohio State is the best resume in college football.
No, I think he's saying all said and done because he has Oregon in there.
All said and done? No, Ohio State can't beat Michigan. They got no offense. They get no offense.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And it's at Michigan too.
As a lineman, Ox the Shop says, what is your thought on primetime and his comment on his lineman? So this is something that I've seen where if you missed it after the game, Pat Narduzzi's like, we thought we replaced our players with some good players, and apparently we were wrong. And a bunch of his players were quote tweeting it like, like, what the fuck, man? This is kind of crazy. Like, this guy's been lying to us. Whereas primetime came out and was like, said, we just got to get better linemen. They suck.
Yeah.
And the key and crucial difference is that that's been Prime since day one. That has been the very clear level of expectation. Whereas for someone like Narduzzi, he's probably behind closed doors amping these kids up and telling them what they want to hear. And then in a low moment in the media, he accidentally tells the truth. So when you maintain the truth consistently, does it hurt? Yeah, man, it hurts if you're one of those Colorado guys and you hear that. But it is what it is. Also for Prime,
Prime is treating this entire thing like the NFL.
Yeah.
Where like I'm here to do is assemble the best possible team I can. If Prime could cut guys in the middle of the season, he would. He would treat it like frigid. Because I remember like every week for the first like 6 weeks of the season, the NFL locker room is rotating like crazy. There's tryouts every single week. There's like 10 guys on Tuesday trying out. If someone looks good, someone's asking getting cut, someone's getting signed. It is a constant rotating door. And that's how Prime is treating. And you said the best, T. Like he has made that statement from the very beginning that if you ain't good enough, I'm going to find someone else who is good because I'm here to win football games. So
it is a good follow-up question from Ox. He says, so how do you think they play the rest of the season knowing they're being replaced? That's true. No matter how real they're used to it being kept, it's still deflating to hear. It's still going to be frustrating. And Aaron, I'm getting more and more mad about the Stanford Colorado game because the over 4.5 is looking far away right now for Colorado. You're at home against Oregon State. Don't think you win that. Then you're at home versus Arizona. That's going to be your best chance. But
Arizona's rolling
right now. Arizona's playing really good football right now. I hate it. And then you're at Wazoo. Don't think you're going to go into Pullman and win. And then you're in Utah. Don't think you're winning that game. So after all said and done, Aaron, my over 4.5 may not actually hit. All thanks to Io Manor and his 300-yard comeback a couple weeks ago. October, still frustrating, dude.
But you have to understand, in today's game with the portal, it's kind of like free agency in the NFL in the sense of like you have to put good tape on if you want to go somewhere good, though. If these kids want an opportunity to go somewhere else, like, you got to play hard. Like, the sport has turned into a little bit more me, less team, unfortunately, with the new rules.
You missed an easy one there. A little more me, less we is what you were looking for.
That's what I was.
It
didn't roll off the tongue as well, but
yeah.
You get the point.
But no, I feel you. Never forget, there's no I in team, but there is a me. So give me my motherfucking money, bitch. That's what I always said back in college. Not really. Nobody ever gave me money. I got a $20 handshake one time from a booster after the game, and that was it. Is Travis Hunter 100%? We've seen elite offices bail out entire team deficits. Travis Hunter looks really good right now. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see on Colorado. I'm just saying that what was once looked like a sure thing is now very, very much up in the air if they can get to 5 wins. Yeah. All right. That'll do it for today's Snaps. Thank you all so much. We love being back live here on YouTube. Shout out to our guys, Pat Gunther, Chris Tran, Danny Cardenas, Adam Gracia. Congratulations again to Brum, who remains on paternity leave. Christian Hunter, thank you so much. The biggest of all thank yous to everybody who listens, shares it with your friends, spreads the good word of Snaps, because this is mine and Aaron's favorite thing that we get to do. YouTube.com/@VolumeSnaps. Like, subscribe, 7K, check, 8K, you're next, Bill Goldberg style. And we'll be back tomorrow because we got a massive slate of games coming up this weekend. So we'll be back tomorrow with more Snaps. We love you. We'll see you then.